Hey, good morning. Yeah, I'm just sitting here. I got these lights, so I got to wear shades. You know, I'm starting to notice this eye isn't opening. So I need I need a little help. How are you? Hope you're having a wonderful morning. I just had Diana Rossini screaming at me on my television. I wasn't mad about it. It's a nice way to open up the day. It is Don't At Me. I am your host, and we're here all the time from 9 to 11. Hope you'll stay with us the whole time. I've got a great show for you. It's the Open. I call it the British Open. You know I love morning sports. I do. I love morning sports. He had Wimbledon last couple of weeks. Now I got the British Open starting tomorrow through the weekend. I ain't mad about it, people. I ain't mad about it. Ryan Burr's going to win us some money. Tell us who to bet. Tell us who is going to win. There is a great tournament coming up. You will see it on ESPN. I am part of the broadcast team. It's called the TBT, the Basketball Tournament. $1 million winner take all, lose and you're out tournament made up of just regular dudes, you, me, whoever, and Johnny Mugar. John Mugar, who is the man, he started this tournament out of Boston and has been running it out, probably a decade now. It's been absolutely terrific. It's taken the nation by storm. The Elam ending is involved. Johnny will join us. But let's get to the smartest dumb guy in America. His name, of course, is LeBron James. LeBron James is America's smartest dumb guy. LeBron James is brilliant. He's made himself $1 million. He's understood what he needs to do publicly to create wealth. And one of the things that he does publicly is he is very organized, like very organized. I've told you this story before. When CAA, the agency, was courting me, I was out in LA with my wife doing a game. We were doing UCLA, Michigan. They took us on a tour. The head of Paramount Studios drove us around in a golf cart, took us around a tour, started talking about different things. One of them was LeBron James. Pointed over there, it looked like a movie set. He said, that's LeBron James's working office. We gave him an office here on the set because when LeBron James and his team gives us an idea, it is incredibly well organized. Now that is different from when Magic Johnson or other athletic types, he said, come with proposals. They're very unorganized. LeBron James is a brilliant dude. But LeBron James saying this about Brittany Griner. Now, how can she feel like America has her back? Well, she's not in an American prison. I would be feeling, and he says, I would be feeling, do I even want to go back to America? Look, you don't have to go back to America. No one's begging anybody to go back to America. I got to tell you this. If I'm going to use I a lot here, like my man LeBron James, if I were in jail overseas, I don't know that I would expect the President of the United States to get me out. I don't think that I would. I've told you before, I had a friend in a German jail. He didn't try to get a hold of the president. He got a hold of me because my college roommate, Uwe Blob's father, was an attorney in Germany, and we got him out. But I don't think any of us would expect the President of the United States, because you're tall and could have put a ball through a basket, to have your, quote, back. I don't think that's what most of us would be thinking. But of course, when you're a basketball player and you call yourself a king, that's the way you think. And I agree with what Clay Travis said. Look, you need a better team around you in terms of PR. Brilliant business folk. Brilliant. But LeBron James said this in his thing, The Shop, where they sit around the barbershop and talk, cut it off and put it as a trailer to get you to watch The Shop. So this wasn't some mistake. This wasn't something that was taken out of context. He said it. He wanted it out. He controlled it being out, and it's out. Now, okay, if that's how you feel, ain't no thing. But I don't think any of us, none of us, would think, well, I got to get a hold of the president. I got caught with vape in Russia. Now, look, I'm going to assume that she did because she pled guilty. I understand you plead guilty to facilitate your release. I get this. Believe me, I'm the first one that started talking about this, and now it's caught fire. I understand all of it. However, if in fact I did a criminal activity in a former country, and I'm not saying I'm anywhere near the level of Brittany Griner or anywhere near the level of LeBron James. I'm like this. But I do have a platform, and I have been involved in national media for, I don't know, 15 years, I suppose. But I would never think to go, well, I hope America has my back. If not, hell, I might just stay here. Or I might move to Guam. London's nice this time of year. It's just utterly stupid by a smart guy. So, of course, the backlash came. And in the backlash was, well, you never say anything about China. Maybe you should move to China. Entitlements, all those type things. So, of course, today, your king, LeBron, made a statement. He put it out on Twitter. I think we have the tweet. If we could play that tweet, that'd be great. But LeBron, of course, backpedaled on all of this. My comments on the shop regarding Brittany Griner wasn't knocking our beautiful country. Okay. I was simply saying how she's probably feeling emotionally along with so many other emotions, thoughts, etc. Inside that cage she's been in for 100+ days. Long story short, hashtag bring her home. Well, I love it. He absolutely did that. He absolutely wanted to take a shot. Now, I haven't heard LeBron James say anything about the white kid that was killed at his playground, at his school. I haven't heard any of that. I haven't heard LeBron James say anything about China. Where does he want Brittany Griner to go? Where would Brittany Griner be better off? Would she be, you think the president of Mexico would care about a women's basketball player? You think the president of England? Do you think the president of Australia, New Zealand? Do you think any of them would care about a women's basketball player being held in a foreign country? The answer, of course, is, oh, hell no. I'll have a chin right there. Anyway, no, of course not. No. Please, children, please. No chance. But LeBron and the sports establishment, which I am included in, were so entitled that the president has to get involved because a woman's WNBA player. Look, I agree the president does have to be involved. I've said this forever. Time to get her out. I said that a month ago, maybe 6 weeks. Time to get her out. What are you doing? And if Trump were in office, she would be out. But all these guys didn't want Trump. All these guys didn't want what we had going pretty good in this country. They wanted what we got right now, which is a complete mess. Oh, by the way, inflation went up. It's the highest it's been, 9.1. I'll sit here and look at my phone and watch all the stocks go down. But hey, that's all right. But LeBron and them rock the vote. Get out and vote. Ballot harvesting. We want Biden. Yeah, how's that going? Not going great. So LeBron James did what LeBron James does, a smart guy saying stupid things. Look, I'm a brilliant guy. I say stupid things occasionally. I understand. I ain't holding it against you. And it doesn't matter if I do hold it against you. But damn, LeBron James never misses an opportunity to try to divide our country. And unfortunately and stupidly, he has that kind of power because he can put a ball in a basket. Think about that. A ball in a basket gives a guy, I don't know, 50 million followers on Twitter and the power to actually influence. It's pretty amazing, really. Man, if I was LeBron James, Brittany Griner, any NBA, WNBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, ESPN, Outkick employee, I'd be staying right here. I'd be running to get to America because the opportunities are endless. Or, hey, sit your ass in a Russian jail. I don't know. I'm not saying the king ought to shut up and dribble. I never say anybody ought to shut up and dribble. But I'd like to know where he thinks Brittany Griner should go instead of America. The level of stupid never stops. It just rolls on and on and on and on. All right, here's the deal. While every single television station that talks about sports is talking about Kevin Durant, that's great. News broke yesterday that should excite every fan base in the NBA, and that is this. The Utah Jazz are willing to talk about dealing Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is freaking great. No, he is freaking one of the 10 best players in the country and in the NBA, and the dude is clutch. He's big clutch. He's monster clutch in the playoffs. He damn near is unstoppable. And you know what else? The dude really doesn't cause any problems. I mean, when you get Kevin Durant, you get a pain in the ass. You get a thin-skinned guy that's always looking around. You get a guy that talks on the mic like this, and he gives you nothing for your team from a PR standpoint. This dude here is the man. Donovan Mitchell to the Pacers? Oh, hell yes. Give away everybody and I'll buy season tickets. Donovan Mitchell scores in bunches. Not a word. Remember, his dad was an executive with the Mets. So Donovan Mitchell understands what time it is in pro sports. Get there early, work hard. I did some of his games in Louisville. When he was at Louisville, had a chance to talk to him twice. Loved him. Never thought he was going to be as good as he is right here. Never in a million years did I think Donovan Mitchell, after watching him in Louisville, was going to be this kind of good. But the fact that Utah is in a rebuild and they would talk about Donovan Mitchell, oh, give me him over Durant today, tomorrow, and the next day, because I've got zero issue. Durant, all I got is issue. All I got. And it's a pain in the ass. I say it all the time. Who's on your TV every day with nonsense? Kyrie Irving, Durant. You know who isn't? Donovan Mitchell. I love that kid. Oh, that was news that people don't understand how big that is. That was news that when it broke, I thought to myself, oh, man. Now, why is Utah doing it? Apparently, they're going into a rebuild. Apparently, their thing with Snyder and Gobert and Mitchell, it didn't work. So they're going into a rebuild. Hey, what are you going to do? I don't like it. I don't think it's smart. I would keep Donovan Mitchell forever. He's got 4 years left on a max deal, so he's expensive, but he's worth it because he gets it done when it counts, and he's no BS. Oh, yeah, give me Donovan Mitchell. All right. Apparently, Gronk is done. All right. Apparently, there will be no more Gronk. Is Gronk done faux show? I want to say yes. I'm ready to put the R and the W on S-U-R-E, sure. For sure. The dude played 9 years in New England, 2 years in Tampa Bay. He's 33 years old. And he said the other day, hey, look, I'm done. It's over. Well, what if Tom Brady called you back? Tell Tom I love him, but I'm done. Now, this is good. This is really good. Because that guy, let's be honest, I don't know his numbers relative to the Hall of Fame. I don't. But I do know his impact relative to the Hall of Fame. And his impact relative to the Hall of Fame seems like he should be in there. But it also seems like he's perpetually hurt. And you know what? He's walking out at a time when he isn't screwing anyone, a la Andrew Luck, when he walked out on the Colts the day before the season started, or the last exhibition game. He's also walking out on his terms. He's like, hey, I want to find my place in the business world. The interesting thing about finding your place in the business world with Gronkowski is going to be this. Are you always going to have to be Gronk? You know what I'm saying? Are you always going to have to be that persona in the business world? You know, the party boy, the happy-go-lucky, hey, look at me guy, right? Or are you going to be what I'll give LeBron James, Michael Jordan, great credit for being, boardroom guy as well. Tom Brady, boardroom guy. You know, are you going to be the guy that can sure have the persona and star in your own commercials? Can you be Oprah on the cover of O Magazine? But also be Oprah making the deals behind the scenes to facilitate O Magazine. That's the interesting thing. Like, I cannot do that. No, I'm not boardroom guy. Boardroom guy is hard. My brother's the best at it. My brother's built things. My brother's built data centers, $250 million projects. He flies all over the country trying to get funding for different things. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's hard for me because I get bored, confused. I'm sure I would have one of those ADD, HDC, whatever the hell they all are, that every kid in America has today. I'm sure I've got all of it. So that ain't good for me. I don't know whether Gronk does or not, but it's going to be interesting because he has said, and I like what he said here. He said, I'm going to try to find my place in the business world. He didn't make those stupid assumptions, I'm going to dominate the business world. He wasn't Johnny Manziel, I'm going to wreck the league. No, he said, I'm going to try to find my place. That's intelligence. That's humility. That's understanding, and that I like. Now, nobody's got to worry about whether I like him or not, but I will tell you this, when I get going on something, people seem to pick it up. So good for Gronk. Smartest thing I ever did was not testify or not go in on a deposition. Smartest thing I ever did. Way back in the day when Bob Knight was being fired, I was a head coach at Bowling Green. Dan, you got to do a deposition. We need your deposition. Not doing it. Not doing it. Why aren't you doing it? Because they all become public. And no, they're not going to become public. Yeah, they all become public. And my brother, again, was my attorney. He's like, yeah, we're not doing the deposition until we get a subpoena. Well, long story short, subpoena never came. Deposition came and went. I'm watching television, and sure enough, there's Patrick Knight's deposition talking about his father leaked on Channel 13. So I've always been a guy that says, I'm not talking to any of you unless I absolutely have to. What does this matter with sports? It matters with Daniel Snyder. Daniel Snyder is being investigated by the House Committee on Oversight and Reform. They want to know what the workplace environment is for the Commanders, at the time, the Washington Redskins. They want to know whether or not Daniel Snyder had a sexist, hostile, whatever workplace, as alleged by many, many people. So Daniel Snyder basically thumbed his nose. He said, hey, look, I'm not in the country. I'm out of the country. I'm on my yacht. Leave me alone. I'm not testifying. Well, you know what happens then. Then lawyers get involved, then subpoenas get involved. All right, and once a subpoena comes, you're pretty much obliged to answer the subpoena. Now, understand this, there is always give and take with attorneys. And there has been give and take. The give and take ends in about 2 hours and 42 minutes, noon today, Wednesday. Daniel Snyder has to either comply with the subpoena or be in contempt of court, and it's going to be interesting. Because if, in fact, Daniel Snyder's workplace was as said that it was, then Daniel Snyder has a serious problem. And one of the problems that Daniel Snyder has is that he's completely, totally, 1,000% on the wrong side of the media. And rightfully so. I mean, there really isn't anything, and I'm sure Daniel Snyder isn't as bad as what he's made out to be. Well, at least I think he's not. Hell, I don't know. Maybe he is. But it feels like nobody can be as bad as Daniel Snyder is made out to be. But Daniel Snyder is on the wrong side of the media, and you all know what that means. That means whatever good comes out of Daniel Snyder's testimony isn't really going to matter. Because Daniel Snyder, that will not be reported. And maybe there is no good. And I'm not defending him. I'm just giving you the lay of the land. And anything nefarious, anything bad that would come out of it will certainly be pumped up. And Daniel Snyder's smart enough to understand this. And his lawyers understand this. Of course they do. His lawyers understand this like it's their job. And oh, by the way, it is their job. So Daniel Snyder may have to testify in front of this committee. And if Daniel Snyder has to do that, this could get bad for him. And bad for him, really, at least according to people that I have talked to, is the distinct possibility of losing your team. Now, understand something about losing your team. That would be the worst. I mean, think about this. You've worked your entire life. You have. You've worked your entire life with the goal, I'm sure, in the background somewhere, once you got to that level, of owning an NFL team. I mean, every guy that couldn't play wants to own an NFL team. We do. Or I wanted to own the Cubs. That's why one time when I met the owner, Ricketts, I was kind of thrilled because he was what I wanted to be. The owner of the Cubs, sitting in the best seats. Game's over. They opened up a little gate, and he got to walk on the field. I had to go up, but I had a great time. So we all want to do that, right? We all want to own something. And now, if it goes badly, Daniel Snyder is going to have to maybe sort of lose his team. That ain't good. A lot of pressure on that testimony. Better have some really smart people, which I'm sure he does, but he will get no break. And maybe he doesn't deserve a break. I don't know, but I wasn't there. And I know this. People say things all the time that aren't true. So I don't know, but you get a subpoena, you testify under oath. You lie, it's perjury. We'll see, but stay tuned. It's going to be interesting. Speaking of testimony, oh yeah, baby. Can I get an amen? I mean, we saw crazy in full force yesterday. So men can get pregnant? Is that what we're saying? I mean, what are we saying? Look, I don't care. I understand. We're all supposed to acquiesce, but I got to tell you, the idea that men can get pregnant, I'm not buying it. I'm a man, and I can't get pregnant. Now, Josh Hawley interviewed a lady that is a law professor at the University of Berkeley, or Cal University Berkeley. Let's put it that way. They think men can get pregnant. And if you, at least in this exchange, if you disagree, then you are transphobic. If you agree, then you're on the right side. Well, I disagree. Look, I understand that Ms. Bridges, the professor, calling Josh Hawley transphobic for saying that he believed men cannot get pregnant. That's great. Let's hear from Professor Bridges, shall we?
Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you're denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're
they're
told
allowed
that
to
they're
question.
opening up people to violence?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
Man, people just can say things, right? And then it becomes stupid. I'm just going to tell you, I don't think men can get pregnant. And if that makes me transphobic, if that makes me whatever, think about this argument. Go back 100 years, 50 years, and think about having this argument on the floor of the Senate. Whether men can get pregnant. I believe there's transgender people, but I don't believe men can get pregnant. I've seen transgender people. Had one hit on my wife and I, walking down the street of Minnesota, Minneapolis. Well, no problem. I mean, you want you want to live your life however you want. But this is where we're at right now in our country. And people can say whatever. And then all of a sudden, what happens is people just talk. And then all of a sudden, you're talking really fast and your eyes are going crazy. And now, and then, of course, you get this. You get, where did the media go with this? The media went with, oh, my God, a Berkeley professor just trashed Senator Hawley. Great. All right. If that's what it is, then that's what it is. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But what I watched there was an unhinged woman speaking to a senator, and I don't think everybody's got to talk to senators with great reverence about stuff that just baffles me. It just simply baffles me. I believe there are transgender people. I think transgender people are probably very nice people. You got to do what you got to do, but I don't believe men can get pregnant. I don't believe if you are a male, you can get pregnant. Now, if that makes me a bad guy, sign me up. But I don't think that it does. I think it just makes me, maybe it makes me an ill-informed guy. Fine. You know what? That's fine too. Whatever you want to say about me, you say about me. But that exchange, think about back 50 years about that exchange. That exchange right there. And when you go through and you look up, you tweet and you go to Josh Hawley, right? So you look up Josh Hawley, all right? Listen to this. This is one guy, Bridget Gabriel, who we got to get on the show, by the way. Kiara Bridges called Senator Josh Hawley transphobic for saying he believed men cannot get pregnant. Imagine paying $44,066 plus room and board to be taught by this nonsensical fake science person. Elena Vagianos, she writes for Deadspin. Josh Hawley tries to mock Berkeley law professor Kiara Bridges for using the phrase people with the capacity for pregnancy during a Senate hearing. She was having none of it. All right. There you go. She was having none of it. Really? All right. I mean, people, it is really funny. People stand behind this. And that's great. Good for you, man. You don't have to stand behind me. I just don't think men can get pregnant. And I think that this lady showed herself when she said, I think your line of questioning is transphobic because he asked a question. See, you're not even allowed to ask a question. Or you're immediately racist, you're immediately transphobic, you're immediately sexist, you're immediately whatever, and it opens up trans people to violence. Don't show up in front of a committee if you don't want to be asked questions like this. Because it's not a violent question. It's a question in a hearing about who she thinks can get pregnant. I don't care enough to look at why this hearing was taking place. But the fact that there's a hearing on this just boggles my mind. And the fact that this is a law professor, this is why the Big Ten should never let Berkeley in. You are always called a name. You are always lied about. You're always. You are transphobic, okay? And you're opening transgender people up to violence because you're in a committee meeting asking a question. Nice. Yeah. What are you going to do? The world is nutty, and I'm here for all of it. I'm here for all of it. And so are you. I always said this to my wife. Long time. You know, if men can get pregnant, man, the first pregnant male, spitting one out, make a lot of money. But I guess we have it already. All right. That's cool. No. All right. When we come back, what do we got? We got What the Hell Wednesday. I got a big show for you today. I'm going to make you some money. Ryan Bird's going to join us to talk about the Open Championship. And coming up, this has really been a really big-time rated, big-time fun event, the TBT, the basketball tournament, which you're going to see on ESPN. Basically, if you got a team, you got 5 guys living in the neighborhood, and you guys want to go play, you can play. If you win a tournament, you make $1 million. You divide it up. You know, and there is something called the Elam ending, which the All-Star game took from the TBT. The bubble that the NBA used was taken from the TBT. And you know, in college basketball, when teams go up and put their sticker on the wall when they advance, that's taken from the TBT. The founder of the TBT, John Mugar, joins us at 10:30, and Ryan Bird joins us at 10. We'll be right back. Welcome back. How are you? Nice to see you. What a great first half hour. Men getting pregnant. Daniel Snyder maybe losing his company. Gronk done. LeBron James, the smartest, dumbest dude in the country, spewing his nonsense. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to What the Hell Wednesday. St. Lucia County. St. Lucia County, I don't even know where the hell it is. There's a thing called Blind Creek Beach. Blind Creek Beach is the place where, ladies and gentlemen, there you see it. St. Lucia County skinny dippers break world record for most naked swimmers. It happened on Sunday. 769 people dipped into the ocean on Blind Creek Beach, breaking the world record whilst wearing nothing but a smile. It was the Treasure Coast Naturalists. They're the naturalists. They wanted to break the previous record of 431 skinny dippers, which was set last year. These folks said, nay, nay. No. Blind Creek Beach became listen to this, a clothing optional beach, and the San Lucia County Commission allowed 36 of the 408 acres of land to be part of the clothing optional portion. Yeah, but the naturalists have been being, naked since 2014. So these dudes decided, hey, let's go get naked and jump in. My hat's off. Yeah, well, I don't wear a hat, but my hat, if it were on my head, would be off to the St. Lucia County skinny dippers, the naturalists of Treasure Coast. Salute for getting naked, jumping in. I got to tell you, never mind. I was going to make a crude joke. I'm not mad at making a crude joke. I'm not mad at making a crude joke at all. But, anyway, I won't. All right, let's look at this. What are we doing here? What are we doing? I don't know. What is President Biden doing here? Will you help me out here, fellas? I don't know. I'm very confused. I'm not confused about anything other than Biden is sniffing again. President Biden has decided that it's time to do some sniffing. He's sniffing. Stop with the sniffing, President Biden. I don't want you. Look, what are we doing? Why? What are we doing? Watch here. No. President Biden, what the hell? Why do we sniff? Why does Peter sniff? All right, I know that there are guys on the YouTube chat. I know some of you are on there. So help my brother out here. Why does this guy persist on sniffing? Why? Why must he sniff? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand what this guy... What are you doing? Why must he sniff? I am asking for answers here. Like, I know that there's a lot of weirdness here. We've already seen it. I know that a lot of people get mad about me and certain things because I don't go along with you and certain things. But I gotta ask a very simple freaking question, and it's not a hard question. The question is simply this: why the sniffing? There are videos from here till eternity of this guy having to have a sniff of little girls' hair. What is it? What is it? I am waiting for an answer. You know what I did at my basketball camp when kids got unruly? I would start shooting free throws. And I would say, look, I've already spent your mommy's and daddy's checks. I'm going to Vegas usually right after the camp. I'm going to sit here and say, hey, look, I want to know why Peter is sniffing. Jeff Weaver says dementia. What does Sean say? He looks like my grandpa with dementia. Wait, I got a thing here in front of me. It's blocking some of the stuff. I got to move. Yeah, I'm going to close that up there. I think your answer is in your question. Dan, it's the stutter. That's from the YouTube chat. He just likes to sniff kids. What are we doing? Can we show that again? Thou shalt not sniff. Nice. Nice, Ryan. Thou shalt not sniff. Can we stop with the sniffing of children? Look at this. Look at him. He's all like, move over, he's taking a picture. And what are we doing? What are we doing? Look, I don't see anybody here defending it. Where's all our, because Hunter stopped trafficking him the prostitutes. I don't know, man. Don't sniff. Like, Sniffing Joe. What else you got back there, Ryan? Sniffing Joe. I got to tell you, most little kids stink. They do. I had little kids. Look, I could always tell when Andrew and his buddies were over the house because the house smelled like kid. When my daughter had friends over, the house smelled like kid. And Joe, what in the hell is going on around Sniffing Joe? Serial sniffer on the... I don't know why this is so funny to me. I don't. I have no idea why that is so funny to me, but it is so funny to me. I got people, sending me stuff, right? What does that mean? I don't know what that means, but what the hell? Yeah, he didn't even hide it. Right, that's from Drew Mao on the YouTube chat. Like he just went. Man, oh man, Ishka bit. Look at this. Just get a look here. Right there. Look at a little girl like, oh God. Hi, what did I do? I'm the president. Hi, I'm the What the hell did we vote for? What the hell? Now, of course, everybody has to go to Trump. Is Trump grabbing blank again or starting race wars? Yes. Yeah, whatever. Man, oh man. Biden gets a whiff. Look, the show might just come off the rail. We might just not do any more while Ryan and Dylan back there have a little fun. All right. What is he doing? Like, have you ever, I don't know. I don't know. All right, we got a fake cricket game. This is awesome. Remember during COVID? This is all fake. Fake IPL fooled Russian gamblers into placing bets. It went on for 2 weeks before the cops busted them. All run by a local guy in Jakarta. No, it's not Jakarta. Gujarat, with 21 farmers posing as players and a YouTube feed. How about that? This is all fake. And it got Russian bettors to bet on it. Is this cool? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. It's soundless. All right. They did have, all right, I'm going to read this to you. It's soundless. The blue stripe at the bottom of the screen tells you the scores of the team, the two batters, the projected score, and the bowling records. It says the Chi fighters are chasing a score of 151 set by the Ganhiga. All right, whatever. The umpire appears to be really enthusiastic, waving his hands vigorously, more enthusiastic than the players, and it's all fake. It's all fake. It was a cricket tournament, unemployed men, and a bunch of punters curiously based in Russia. They started betting on it. Well, I don't know why they seized everything. And they were all mad. And next thing you know, this YouTube channel took off a little bit. Got up to a couple 250. And these guys got arrested. I've never seen a scam like this. This guy cleared a path of land deep inside a village and began playing a match, beamed it on YouTube to make money through gambling. Even the local villagers were not aware of it. We know very little about the Russians who were putting bets on this game. There were no audiences. That's pretty good. Hey, look, 2 years ago, I bet on Russian table tennis that turned out to be fixed. Nothing to do. It was either that or bet at Will Rogers Park. And by the way, my friend Ryan Mueller won me a lot of money at Will Rogers Park. But we had a fake cricket game. Like if you woke up this morning and said, what do you think you're going to hear about? I bet you a fake cricket game wasn't in the cards. I bet it wasn't. All right, this is pretty good. These two dudes are going back and forth now. Trump slamming Elon Musk and Elon Musk slamming Trump. This is the battle of the century. Read this. When Elon Musk came to the White House asking me for help on all of his many subsidized projects, whether it was electric cars that don't drive long enough, Trump is nuts, driverless cars that crash, or rocket ships to nowhere, without which subsidies he'd be worthless, and telling me how he was a big Trump fan and Republican, I could have said, drop to your knees and beg, and he would have done it. Trump also had words for Elon Musk at a press conference. He was not happy with Elon Musk. Trump's all over this, man. Basically, Elon Musk said, I'm not voting for Trump. Is basically what he said. I ain't voting for Trump. Do we have the Trump press conference where he calls him a BS artist? Do we have that? Today's
another one of our highest priorities under a Republican Congress will be to stop left-wing censorship and to restore free speech in America. And go out, by the way, while I'm here and sign up now for Truth Social. It's hot as a pistol, and you see that. I pulled that one right. Leon's, I tell you what, Elon is not going to buy Twitter. Where did you hear that before? From me. From a fake account. She says fake. A lot of them. Nah, he's got himself a mess. You know, he said the other day, oh, I've never voted for a Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. So he's another bullshit artist, but he's not going to be buying it. He's not going to be buying it. Although he might later. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? He's got a pretty rotten contract. I looked at his contract. Not a good contract.
I looked at his contract. Not a good contract. Not a good contract. So this is going back and forth, mostly by Trump. Look, I don't think that this needs to play out this way. I would hope that this doesn't play out this way. I would hope that we have, when we look at, when we look at the country and we've got powerful people, I would hope that we're a little bit better than this, but we're not. And I got to tell you, it makes for very good theater. It does. It makes, you got to admit, like, let's be honest. I mean, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying anything. Musk said, I don't hate the man, but it's time for Trump to hang up his hat and sail into the sunset. Dems should also call off the attack. Don't make it so that Trump's only way to survive is to regain the presidency. It seems like a petty spat. It does. But man, is it funny. Because when Trump gets in there, he's always got to throw those shots. When he came to see me for electric cars, which don't drive very far, why you got to say that? Why does it have to be that? Why can't it just be when I'm going to button this up. When he came to me for electric cars, when he came to me for spaceships, you know what I mean? When he came to me for driverless cars that crash, what? Why does it have to be that way? I don't know. And I know what everybody's going to say. See, I told you, Trump's an idiot. Now, the one interesting thing, and I agree with Tanner Hall here, you telling me Trump looked at the contract? See, I think Trump just throws things out there. Like, I think they all just throw things out there. I think the core of Trump, when he gets serious about things, like he told everybody about inflation, which, by the way, is 9.1% today, higher than what was expected. No surprise there. When he told people about what was going to happen with gas prices and crime and the border, he's absolutely right. When he's serious about certain issues, he's absolutely right. But when he does these crazy-ass things where he goes, well, you know, cars that don't drive and crash, and I looked at his contract, it's terrible. How are you looking at the contract? How are you just saying, oh, wait a second, they just showed me the contract. They wanted me to see the contract. I'm Donald Trump. They had to show me the contract. I don't buy that. Tanner, I'm with you on that. I am with you. But the truth of the matter is, I love it. I'm sorry. I love it. I don't like it. I absolutely love it. I think it's the greatest stuff that we could possibly have. Because what eventually you get out of Trump is the truth. And again, I'll say it. When he started telling us and when he told everybody what would happen when you voted for Biden, it has absolutely happened. It has. So, I mean, there's this umbrella of BS and nonsense that inside there is really smart stuff. I just wish he would get rid of the umbrella of nonsense. But hey, who am I to tell him? He seems to be doing fine without me. I love stories like this. I like stories like this next one. So, and this happened it didn't happen at my house, but a friend of mine lost earrings. Why she was wearing diamond earrings on a boat with me, I have no idea. But my wife's friend, anyway. An Alabama woman, she lost her ring in a California lake. Now think about this. She lost her ring, her high school class ring, while swimming in a California lake 53 years ago. Dana Scott Laughlin said she was swimming in Lake Berryessa shortly after her high school graduation when her ring fell from her finger and sank to the bottom of the lake. Laughlin's son received a message a few days ago from a couple who said they found a ring while fishing at Lake Berryessa and were trying to locate its owner. Now, Laughlin lives in Alabama. The ring was found in California. They confirmed it was inscribed with her initials and her school. I couldn't believe it. I'm so grateful. I could not believe she found the ring after so many years. I guess it was meant to be. My husband was in a state of shock. The ring is on its way. How about that? Apparently, firefighters plunged into the Charles River this month to recover a diamond ring dropped by a woman visiting the Charlotte Gay Yacht Club. I have, in order, in this lake, dropped one phone, and I think that's it. I dropped my phone in the lake. A friend of mine dropped, I don't know why she was wearing diamond earrings. A friend of my wife's dropped diamond earrings in the lake. Those are never coming back. If they come back, that would be very cool. But I like stories like that. I think those stories are kind of cool. You don't hear those stories very often, right? I mean, because they can't happen very often. I mean, it's just not what can happen. But I do like it. I think it's very cool. All right, this story I love. This is one of my favorite stories. So, you know HOV lane, the, buses and, carpool lane? So a pregnant woman was driving along in Texas in the HOV lane. She got pulled over. She said her fetus should count as a passenger. Thus, she had two or more people in the car. That's what I'm talking about, lady. Brandy Botton, of Plano, Texas, was driving on U.S. Highway 75. She was pulled over passing a Dallas County Sheriff Department's checkpoint targeting those driving in the lane alone. Law enforcement asked her, "Yo, lady, the hell you doing? Two passengers." She said, "My baby girl is right here in my belly. She's a person." Deputies told her that the law required to be two people outside of the body. The penal code in Texas defines an individual as a human being who is alive, including an unborn child at every stage of gestation. However, the transportation code doesn't recognize that distinction. One officer kind of brushed me off when I mentioned this is a living child, according to everything that's going on with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. They gave her a citation and told her it would likely get dropped if she were to fight it in court. They still gave me a ticket, she said. So my $215 ticket was written to cause inconvenience. This has my blood boiling. How far can this be fair? How could this be fair? According to the new law, this is a life. I know this may fall on deaf ears, but as a woman, I am shocked. She was 34 weeks pregnant at the time and is going to fight the ticket. Yeah. All right. I'm with her. Hey. I'm with her. Now, I don't know whether, and this is a big deal when you deal with the police, I don't know what her demeanor was. I don't know if she was caring, K-A-R-E-N-ing, Karening, or whether she was, but I always go to, would I have given a ticket in this case? And my answer would have been no. You know what I'd have said, lady, help me out here. Don't drive in that lane, but let's do ourselves a favor. And I'm not giving you a ticket. I wouldn't. All right. This is a lesson. This next What the Hell Wednesday is a lesson to you. This is a lesson. And I want you to pay attention to this. You dads out there, you moms out there. I'm going to read you an obituary. This obituary for Lawrence H. Pfaff, Sr. from Belmont is awesome. Listen to this. This is what his family wrote about Lawrence Pfaff Sr. Lawrence H. Pfaff Sr. was born in Belmont, New York, April 16, 1941. He passed away June 27th, 2022, living a long life, much longer than he deserved. He is survived by his 3 children, but there could be more. His love was abundant when it came to himself. But for his children, it was limited. From a young age, he was a ladies' man and an abusive alcoholic, solidifying his commitment to both with the path of destruction he left behind. This is an obituary. Damaging his adult children and leaving them broken. Lawrence Sr.'s hobby, including abusing his first wife and children. He loved to start projects, but never followed through on any of them. He enjoyed the life of a barfly for many years and had a quaint little living space studio above his favorite hole in the wall, the Club Nashville. Lawrence Sr. did spend over 20 years in NYPD, but even his time in service was negligent at best. Because of his alcohol addiction, his commanding officer took away his gun and badge, replaced him with a broom until he could get his act together. Lawrence Sr. did claim to be clean and sober for over 30 years, but never worked any of the 12 steps, including the 8th and 9th steps, with his children making amends. He possesses no redeeming qualities for his children, including the ones he knew and the ones he knew about, in quotes. It will be challenging, listen to this, it will be challenging to miss Lawrence Sr. because he was a narcissist. He was incapable of love. Lawrence Sr.'s passing proves that evil does eventually die. Lawrence Sr.'s passing proves that evil does eventually die. That's his kids writing this. And it marks a time of healing, which will allow his children to get the closure they deserve. Lawrence Sr. can be remembered for being a father to many, a dad to none. Ooh. Larry. Yo, Larry. You want a do-over there? Holy cow, I read this yesterday. I couldn't stop laughing. Hey, look, I know there's nothing funny about what I read in there. I know it's sad, but it is funny. It's funny that a family felt the need to do that, and I'm here for it. I'm here for all those type things. So if you have an obituary, you're mad at somebody, write their ass an obituary. Write them a nasty obituary. Man. All right, coming up, one of our favorites, the great Ryan Burr. He is with ESPN Golf. Nobody knows more and is more opinionated about what he knows than our friend Ryan Burr. You'll love Ryan Burr. Every time Ryan Burr's on, everybody loves it, so I got to have Ryan Burr back on. Then bottom of the hour, John Mugar. John Mugar, with one of his buddies, just started a little tournament. A tournament where you could win all the money just by winning. You lose, you're out. There's no double elimination. There's no hay. It's called the TBT, the Basketball Tournament. The tournament's as simple as its name. Get your buddies together, get in the tournament, win games, keep advancing, win a prize. And that prize, $1 million. Jonathan Muger is going to join us coming up at 10:30 to talk about the origins of the TBT, where the TBT is now, and I can't wait to broadcast in the TBT. We shall be right back. Oh, man, he's a fan favorite. You know him, you love him, you listen to him, you get smarter. His name, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Burr, ESPN Golf, joining us, and much more, much more. Let's not limit Ryan Burr to ESPN Golf. That would be silly. All right, our Burr, number one, the Open Championship. We gonna see any surprises here?
Well, I do think that the Open Championship can always give you a surprise. Of course, they're at St. Andrews, 150th anniversary. The reality of St. Andrews, the home of golf, as old as it is it really, really relies on the elements to even really be a marginally difficult golf course. So, you know, it's a tough one to handicap, because what makes the majors so easy is, you know, while the Masters, they only invite good players, and then the rest of the field can't win. So the Masters is always the easiest. But, you know, the U.S. Open and more the PGA Championship are being played on difficult tracks at ridiculous yardages that the cream always rises to the top, because it gets rid of the guys that, you know, can just go out on a normal week and shoot 20 under on a course that doesn't have a whole lot of penalty for poor shots. My fear is, if the weather is not, well, I got two fears with the Open. One, I always fear is weather is moving in, and it's not like they can predict it. I don't know if you've ever been to Scotland, but it arrives when it's blue skies, it's 65, 70 degrees, everyone's eating ice cream, and it's the greatest summer day of your life. And then 20 minutes later, it's blowing 40, it's black clouds, and it only lasts for about 90 minutes. But for those players that are on the golf course, it eliminates them from the Open Championship. We've seen it year in, year out. you can be eliminated by a 92-hour-minute stretch of horrendous high winds. The Open, St. Andrews actually relies on it because it's a farm with not a ton of penalty for errant shots. It has your pot bunkers that are different than in the U.S. When you get in a bunker in the U.S., if you're a good bunker player, you can survive them. A pot bunker, there is no surviving. You have to take your 0.75 penalty and play out sideways or what have you, depending on where your ball lies up against the wall inside the bunker. But the weather can eliminate your picks because on a Wednesday, 10 o'clock in the East, you're not going to know when that bad weather's coming. I always try to take someone morning late. That's kind of my formula at the Open. I feel like once you're in the mix after a really good Thursday opening round, you have a better chance of surviving the bad luck if it hits you on Friday. The weather, for what it's worth, and like I said, you can't really trust it, does say that the worst severe weather will be Thursday afternoon, where it will be potentially blowing 20 to 30. With that said, it's a crapshoot on the weather. I do think you could see 25 under winning this week. I think that number is in play. And what that does, obviously, is it opens it up to wild cards because, like I said, the beauty of a major generally is the harder you make the course, the better the player is that wins. That's always been the formula of why majors generally have a top 10 player win, is because they eliminate all the riffraff. The guys that can shoot 20 under in their sleep at the Barbasol generally hit those 3 or 4 shots at a major championship that eliminate them with the double and triple.
Does a European player have an advantage in this? Like, if Rory's the favorite, right? I mean, Rory's the favorite. He's the favorite. Then you got Schauffele. But do European players have an advantage here?
No, they don't. It's cute to say they do. The reality on Rory is this. Rory's playing the best golf he's played in a long time, but he hasn't won a major in forever. And I hate as a handicapper, and you know this, I hate when all the pressure is, well, Rory has to win this, right? I mean, it's St. Andrews. All the great players win at St. Andrews. They're not going to be back here forever. Tiger won here. Jack won here. Rory has to win here. He's a transcendent talent. He's blah, 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 blah. I mean, I think it's a lot of pressure on Rory to win when Rory has felt the most pressure. He hasn't played well. You think back to the Open in Ireland. It hadn't been in Ireland in 50 years. It went to Ireland, and Rory misses the cut. And it's tough to win. As a top 10 player in the world, it's actually pretty tough to miss a cut just because you are so much better than everyone else. His first ball he hit in Ireland, he hit it OB. First shot of the tournament, he hit it out of bounds. I mean, that's the sign that the pressure is getting to you. Rory's playing great golf. And in his career, when he plays great golf, he usually doubles, triples, quadruples up with victories. But he hasn't won a major. I mean, he had the crazy backdoor at the Masters where he was never in contention. Then CBS shows you that he holds out for birdie at the last, and the next thing you know, he's in second place. But Rory McIlroy's chance to win the Masters this year. You'll go back next year and look at the leaderboard for when you're making the Masters pick him up. Rory finished third at the Masters last year. I mean, he did. You can't take it away from him, but he never hit one shot where he had a chance to win. And for me, that's not really being in contention.
There are there's some interesting stuff here. Like Xander Schauffele's on fire, but can you win 2 weeks in a row?
Fire.
Everybody tells me, well, Scotty Scheffler plays in those wins in Texas, so this will fit him. I mean, it makes sense, right? But can you win 2 in a row?
It does make sense. I'll tell you what, I've always Double D. I've always used past course history as my number one reason to bet a guy. And this year, it's strictly been the hot players that win. Scheffler obviously was the hottest player in the world. He went to the Masters. He became number one in the world, and he won for the 4th time this year. Justin Thomas has been hitting the crap out of the ball as far as his irons, which at the PGA Championship, that was the number one metric going in. He wins. Matt Fitzpatrick had 6 top 10s this year going to the U.S. Open. 6 top 10s. He won. This year, more than any other, the outlier has been the hottest players have won. So I actually like Scheffler. Not as my pick to win. My pick to win is actually Shane Lowry, which you're getting right now at 50-1 on some books. So I like Lowry. Has been a machine this year. He has really had his best year. Now, he won the Open Championship in Ireland, actually, the one I talked about with Rory. But the reality is he took a several-year hiatus, almost like a Guinness hangover after he won the Open. And now he's actually, metric-wise, had his best year ever. I like Lowry a lot this week as a outside the top 25 pick. As I go through the names that you'll all recognize, I do like Scheffler. I cannot get past Jon Rahm at 18-1. And Rahm's bit me a lot this year because I always tell you that he's the best player when he's playing his best, and he just hasn't played good this year. But 18-1 to get Jon Rahm at 18-1, I'm just a sucker for that number. It's just too low, too high for me. I've got to put a little bit on Jon Rahm. I'll probably stay away from Rory just because he's so high and it is a lot of pressure. And I told you he hasn't performed that well. Although the St. Andrews magic, if you will, it often does produce the greatest players in the world to win there. But I'm going to stay away from Rory this week. I like Rahm. I like Scheffler. Will Zalatoris is interesting. He finishes second in every major because he can't putt. These greens, no one can really putt because they're slow. So you don't see that. Putting really isn't a huge outlier at this golf course because the greens and the speed of the greens kind of bring everyone a little bit closer together, which tells you Zalatoris, it benefits him because he's a bad putter. I'll have a little on Zalatoris. Like I said, I like Lowry. That's where I'll have some money on him to win. But I'll tell you another guy that I really like this week is Cam Smith. He has imagination. For me, he's like a combination of JT and Jordan Spieth rolled into one. He's a lot like Spieth because he's not like super pristine out there. He kind of gets it done. Jordan, obviously, anytime Jordan wins, he's doing crazy stuff where they're moving a grandstand in the middle of a tournament so he can hit it through a grandstand. And, he's always out of position, but he has that magic. He has that magic that I know you love, that the great ones have. And Spieth clearly has a different kind of magic than everyone else because he never really hits it that well. But the dude just sacks up and he's a threat when he doesn't make the 8 or 9 that costs him. I'll probably have some money on Jordan to top 10. I could never bet him to win just because he's so untrustworthy with his ball striking.
Zalatoris is interesting. He plays so well, and as you mentioned, he can't putt. Is he the best ball striker out there? Is he like the best player out there? But he can't. I mean, how do you come in second to all these and can't putt?
Well, his putting is egregiously bad, which gives you an indication of how good of a ball striker he is. I mean, he really is he hits the fairway, he hits the green. I mean, if you when they show you his stroke in slow motion, the backswing of his putter does kind of look like a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, it's so unpure and so unsmooth that it's tough to get over. But he does hit it so pure but that's so much pressure. When you know you're going to miss a few 4 or 5 footers, that's a lot of pressure, which he's stood up to. As far as getting in the mix, you do have to make those clutch putts, though. You've got to. I mean, that's anyone that's won a major. It's really difficult to just overwhelm everyone with the ball striking. But like I said, I like the fact that everyone's going to miss a 5-footer this week because of the greens at St. Andrews, and I do think that helps Zalatoris because if everyone's missing him and he's missing them maybe by a bigger margin, the reality is it does shrink the weakest part of his game.
What about a guy? who's been around it. Cantlay, Hayes been around it. You didn't mention Morikawa. I'm just going through some of these names here. Morikawa last year, I remember watching the final round, shot after shot. That dude just stood up, man. Morikawa have a shot here? Is this a place for him?
You know, he's such a tricky guy. He's won 2 majors. He's like 12 years old. I mean, he's a superstar. He has 2 majors in the bag already. You go in the history of the game and look at superstars that don't have 2 majors. He hasn't played well this year. I mean, he has, but he hasn't. Like, I don't know if you remember the story. He showed up at the U.S. Open. He said he hadn't hit a draw in 9 years. Hadn't hit one draw in 9 years. Every shot he hit was a fade. He showed up at the U.S. Open, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he couldn't hit anything but a draw. Couldn't figure it out, lessons, everything, which, first of all, when you're getting a lesson in a major the day before it starts, you're getting crossed off my list. But he went out, and he played with a draw the whole week, and he top 10'd. It speaks to, like, I mean, think about that for a second. He has never seen a ball in 10 years not go left to right off his club, and he could not do anything but right to left. And he says the fade's back. You got to figure it out. It was something that they couldn't figure out at the U.S. Open. But the dude top 10, essentially telling you that he was getting a lesson an hour before he teed off, trying to fix his swing. Back to back there's a lot. It doesn't ever happen. I know that's like the dumbest metric in the world. Like, it's like where you're sitting at in your house determines whether your team wins or loses. I mean, how does last year really figure into this year? It doesn't, but I just know it never happens, so he's not on my list.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's like, it is stupid, but it is true. I mean, it doesn't happen. What about a guy like Fitzpatrick? Fitzpatrick, same kind of thing. I mean, I thought he looked composed, ready for the moment when he won the U.S. Open. I looked at him like, hey, look, this is a real guy.
Yeah. I do, and I also think that he's on that heater right now. And we talk about, for me, I've changed how I look at things, and I'm not going into guys at St. Andrews 10 years ago that played well here. I'm going for the hot players, and I'll tell you what, Fitzpatrick's been red hot all year. I think winning the U.S. Open actually gives him more confidence. He's on my list, crazy enough, but I like Fitzpatrick this week. I mean, especially if it blows, the tougher the conditions, the better it is for him. I like Fitzpatrick.
What about Tiger to make the cut?
I like Tiger to make the cut. I think that here's the thing that I saw about Tiger. The first time I've ever seen it from him, but it gives you an idea where he is. And it also gives you an idea of how good he is and how good his brain is. I actually saw him playing to make the cut at the PGA Championship, where everyone's hitting driver and he's hitting 3-wood. And by hitting 3-wood, it takes birdie. It says you can't birdie the hole anymore. But he wasn't looking to birdie the hole. He was just looking to make par. Like, there's a couple things in play here. One, it's the easiest walking course on the planet, which for Tiger matters. Like, you think about Augusta and the PGA, like, he just ran out of gas. But remember, making the cut is you just have to survive Thursday, Friday, which I told you. I've had money on Tiger to make the cut at both the Masters and the PGA because I felt like Thursday and Friday are going to be his 2 best days. He's made me look like a genius because that's exactly what happened. And by Saturday and Sunday, he could barely move. I do think he'll be better. Listen, he skipped the U.S. Open. Like, he skipped a major so he could be fresh because he knew this course would actually be his best chance. Today, he thinks he can win. Today, he thinks he can actually win. He plays chess. Everyone else in the field is playing checkers. He'll make the cut.
What did you think of his comments about the guys off the LIV Tour?
Yeah, I mean, boy, I'll tell you, the PGA Tour was happy with him. The Live Tour needs to survive this year and next year. I think they will. And when they do, first of all, I think you're going to see a big exodus following the FedEx Cup. Here's the deal. The FedEx Cup is offering $1 zillion as well. And then the PGA Tour goes into its fall season, and Live is still passing out zillions of dollars in the fall. They got to survive. They have to survive people not blackballing them from playing, meaning the Masters still hasn't come out on it. If the Masters came out and said, if you play on the Live Tour, you're out, then that would be the end of it. The USPGA and the RNA. Now, listen, they're not doing these guys any favor. Phil Mickelson tees off at 2:30 in the morning. Like, they're kind of sticking it to these guys. But as long as they can play the majors, listen, Brendan Grace has made, forget the money that he got to go to the Live Tour. He's made more money in 2 events on the Live Tour than he ever made in his career. People see that. They also see how tough it is to win on the PGA Tour because they have so many great players. But, Tiger, I give Tiger credit because he's only going to play 4 or 5 times a year. So maybe that's why he didn't go, is because if they give you $1 billion, they would have wanted him to play 10, 11, and I don't think he could do that. But, that was pretty stock Tiger about, Tiger fought to make every cut. Making the cut mattered to him. 72 holes mattered to him. The battle of attrition mattered to him. So I guess I wasn't that surprised by it.
The Department of Justice looking into the competitiveness or the monopoly of the PGA Tour. What do you think about this? What's going to happen here?
It's good for Liv. It certainly helps. I mean, listen, the best thing in the world that could happen to them ever would be someone step in and say, you can't forbid someone from playing on your tour if they're eligible to play. Meaning, if someone in the government or, if there's a law that says that it's, you can't forbid someone from playing, then that means the players can have their cake and eat it too. And that would open up a whole new level of, you have, everyone essentially would take their crack at playing both just because, I don't know. You might know this question more. I mean, a lot of people compare it to kart and IndyCar.
Yeah.
And the Indy 500 was the biggest thing in the world, and then it didn't matter anymore because half the players went race in it. And then I guess now follow open wheel. I mean, is everyone back in the Indy 500 now? Does both organizations still exist? What happened there?
Yeah, both organizations don't exist. It's IndyCar, and everybody does come back for the 500, but the split caused a lot of problems, at least here in Indianapolis, when you're talking about exactly what you're saying. I mean, people had to take sides, and the field wasn't full, and people got mad. The greed stepped in, and I do agree that you're seeing the same thing here. I mean, the one thing you got to be careful of, let's be honest, man, Tiger Woods brought a lot of people to golf. Tiger Woods pumped everything up. Now you're talking about no Tiger Woods, and you're talking about a split of the best players. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a good comparison, and I would argue IndyCar's never come back. I would argue that, and people that know better than me.
I mean, I don't think that. I'll tell you why I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's a problem for a couple of reasons. One, golf's the only sport that is on network television every Saturday, Sunday, from January to December.
Yeah.
Before this year, no one knew who Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns were. They've won 7 times now. So the PGA Tour, because, no one watched IndyCar except for the Indy 500. People watch golf year round.
I'm not saying they're the same. No. I'm not saying they're the same. I'm not saying golf is going away. I'm just saying that it could get lessened. And I always go to boxing. Boxing used to be a huge deal. I mean, a huge deal in this country. Now it's basically gone. I would never, what's the right way to put it? I would never take for granted my sport's popularity were I golf, were I any sport, based on what we saw with NASCAR, IndyCar, boxing. And I don't think it's going away. I just think that there could be a lot of people that say, screw this. We got no Tiger, and these guys, I don't even know who the hell's playing, so I ain't watching. That could happen.
Well, Tiger, the PGA Tour has dealt with the Tiger problem for 20 years. There is a large population of Americans that will only watch if Tiger's in the mix. And obviously with his, how many events has he played in the last 10 years? With his health and everything else, you don't get a whole lot of Tiger. I've heard the comparison that Tiger is Mike Tyson, that when Mike Tyson fought, everyone tuned into boxing. When Mike Tyson left, they watched boxing for a couple of years, and they knew that wasn't Mike Tyson anymore, and they stopped watching boxing. I don't think golf has that problem. It's not pay-per-view. It's on every week. There are a lot of people that are just conditioned on Sunday, not during football, to, turn golf on Sunday at 5 o'clock while they're making dinner. They work the next day. Everybody's home. And I think golf will be fine, but it will be interesting to see if the day comes when guys are allowed to play both tours. That will be interesting.
I agree. I completely agree. Last thing, who's your 5?
Yep, my 5 for sure. Like I told you, I like Lowry, 1. Cam Smith, 2. I got Fitzpatrick, Scheffler, and Rahm.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you, buddy. All right. Yep. I like Rahm. I always like Rahm. I think Rahm is great. I'm a big Rahm fan. I am. I'm a big Rahm fan. I like Rahm. I like Scheffler. I love his pick of Shane Lowry. I love it. I don't kind of like it. I absolutely like it. And Cam Smith is always there. He of the mullet. I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great. I think Cam Smith and the mullet is one of the great watches because Cam Smith, if you don't know who he is, you've seen him with the little stringy mustache and the mullet. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't know if he can win. I wouldn't be surprised if McIlroy won. When we come back, we are going to talk to John Mugar. John Mugar started the TBT. He started the TBT, and in starting the TBT, he found something that everybody's trying to emulate. He did. Everybody's trying to emulate the TBT. Everybody's trying to get a part of the TBT. The Elam ending, where it is no longer, hey, we're going to play to the clock. The Elam ending is we are going to play to the score. So let's say the score is 70-60. You stop the clock in the last 4 minutes. You had 7 or 8 points, so you got to get to 78. First team to 78 wins. It stops all those free throws going back and forth. Anyway, it's interesting, and I love it. And John Mugar started this out of his basement. Think about that. Started it, basically, he and a buddy. He and a buddy just started it, and away they went. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. So there you go. I got a guy you're more than welcome to stay in the cornfield. I'm not sure why you're tripping over the fact that some humans have an uterus and can give birth unless you're that insecure about your own identity. Give me a call so I can call you transphobic to your face. Okay. All right, Kevin Wykovich. I know his dad, Ronnie. All right. Okay. There you go. I love when kids grow up. They grow up and then they become important. So apparently, there you go. All right. Well, Kevin, you do you, but I think the senator or the assistant professor is nuts. I cannot have a baby, and I am a man. All right, we'll come back. John Mugard joins us. There you go, John Mugard. Can't wait to talk to him next. This is actually, if you really think about it, the classic American story. Two dudes hanging out, talking ball. Next thing you know, we should have a tournament. Next thing you know, the tournament becomes the summer tournament. The summer tournament with guys competing for $1 million. And, ladies and gentlemen, there's no participation trophies. It's lose Send your ass home. It's the TBT and the founder, John Mugart, nice enough to join us. That's basically how this thing started, isn't it, big boy? You guys had an idea, talking about it over at where in Boston, came up, and here we go.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened back in 2011, I believe. I grew up a massive NBA fan, and I think after I graduated college, I started seeing sports for a little bit more of what they were. That coincided with the business of sports really exploding. And what I really loved is anytime you have an incentive purely on winning, that results in this really passionate, intense form of basketball that's team oriented. And I think that what we wanted to do was put out an idea, a model that was the idea was $50 million, winner take all, anybody could enter, and see what would happen. Would that be enough to break through all these union contracts or CBAs? And would LeBron come out and play? Would the Lakers play against Duke? Would a high school team or a group of guys at the YMCA play? So it was a huge experiment.
And how? I always go to this because things are personal. How did you get this going? How did you get the attention of, Notre Dame's team won it the first year, an alumni team. How did you get the attention of anybody to take your idea and get it to the court?
It was 2 years of me with a PowerPoint deck, just schlepping it around town, and it just led nowhere because I'm an awful salesperson. And so what wound up happening is I had to go to friends and family to help finance the first year, put $500,000 up, and announce the tournament through a Zach Lowe article. And then sure enough, we got over 100 teams to apply to a 32-team single elimination tournament in Philly. Within like 45 minutes of the first morning, I think Marshall Henderson showed up at 8:30 in the morning to play a game of basketball. Barely had 5 players on the team. But within 45 minutes, I got a call from ESPN from someone I never talked to before saying, hey, we want to stream the championship. And it was sort of off and running from there.
So you literally had just your family put it up. Did you have more than one site, or was it just in a gym in Philly?
Just at a gym in Philly. And then, we did something that year where we got down to 2 teams, and then we took a 3-week break and had the fans vote to decide where the championship would be. So at that point, it was Team Barstool against Notre Dame alumni, and those fan bases voted, and the Barstool fans won. And so they hosted the championship at this small gym at BU, Boston University, and Barstool showed up and showed out. There were about 2,000 people there going crazy. It was awesome.
So that's the first year, and then ESPN sees what they have. And then how did it go from that to where it is now, where, every weekend there's going to be something? You're going to have, 5 different channels going, or 3 different channels going for sure.
Yeah, you showed up in year 2, I think. And we were in Chicago in year 2, and we branched out across the country to 4 different sites. We got more and more alumni teams, and then more and more alumni fan bases popped up in support of those teams. We got it on TV for the first time in 2016, and it did well. And I think we started with maybe 3 games on ESPN on the main network, and then last year we had 33 games on ESPN and ESPN2. And so we've really, our goal was pretty ambitious to sort of own the sport of basketball for 3 weeks of the calendar. It doesn't sound like a long period of time, but just by the nature of where we slot, I think we have sort of achieved it. And we're on across 287 countries during that time, and we are the sport for a little while.
And with that comes copycat. So now let's go through it. How'd you come up with the Elam ending?
We got an email from a 67-page PowerPoint deck email to info@thetournament.com back in 2016, 3 days after our championship, when I was wiped anyway. And I was just, I wanted to dismiss it so bad, but it was just perfectly punctuated and well written. So I opened up the PowerPoint, and the idea was called the hybrid duration format at the time, which I had no idea what that meant. But it addressed this thing that I'd become sensitive to as a tournament organizer, where the end of games, particularly when there's like a 3-point to 12-point margin, especially in a high stakes event like ours, the end of games are just brutal and brutally long with fouling to prolong the game. It's the only strategy coaches have. So it came up with this genius idea. Nick Elam was the founder of it, to set a target score once you get down to the final 4 minutes, and then have teams play to a target score as opposed to the end of the game clock. And we adopted it a year later after working with Nick to rename it. We named it the Elam ending after him. We made it a little bit more marketable. We talked to referees, and our game ops, Rob Kennedy, got involved, and we made it something that we felt we could test out, put it on TV, and it's gone unbelievably well. I mean, I honestly feel like it's the future of basketball, but you tell me.
Oh, I do. I absolutely do. I think when you saw the reaction, and people that don't know, the Elam ending was in the All-Star game, has been in the All-Star game, and I think that, I always go to players, right? Players loved it. Players don't want to walk back and forth and shoot free throws. Players want to play, and that's how everybody grew up playing. And again, so that was there's a number of little things that are just taken. Like all of a sudden now the NCAA, you guys would give the sticker, and the whole team runs over and puts it on a big board to show that they've advanced. And now what do you see in the NCAA tournament? Boom. But before you answer that, how that came up, how much, you have some data now, I'm sure, I didn't ask you this, but how much has the Elam ended shortened a game?
Our average game time is 140 to 145. The other thing too, Dan, that a lot of people don't realize is that we grew our ratings from lead-in to Elam ending 65% on average last year. So this idea that these games going to culminate in a short 2-hour window and at the most intense and clutch moment is really meaningful to fans. And I think, we attract, this whole format attracts the right type of player. And that's really the thing I love about it most. And you see that, we're rarely do we get guys who grew up in the top 100, who are sort of coddled and who grew up with this sense of entitlement, who are very recruited. Like we get guys who grew late. They grew up with a chip on their shoulder. They played low Division I basketball or Division III. And all of a sudden, they can now play at an NBA level, and they have something to prove. And those are the types of people that this format attracts, and that's why we love it so much.
And I tell people this all the time, John, when you're at a game and you're all of a sudden, okay, it's Elam ending time. I swear to you, people out there, I swear to you, when you're at the game, all of a sudden the game feels different. All of a sudden it feels like there is a pressure on every possession going back and forth. And that to me is the best thing, John. It's not like, okay, I get the ball inbounded, I hold it away, somebody smacks me and we got to go walk down. The pressure starts in the gym for everybody with the Elam ending. That to me is the best.
It's the only thing in our society that I've seen people put their cell phones away for. And I think that the greatest test of the Elam ending for me was seeing it in the All-Star game, which I just despise because it was a defenseless dunk fest. But once the fourth quarter rolled around in that first Elam ending All-Star game in Chicago in 2019, a TBT game broke out, and Kyle Lowry, the real Kyle Lowry, emerged, and he took 3 charges in that period. I mean, what is that? And guys were arguing with the referees. I mean, and Chris Paul had his finger in the ref's face. I mean, it was awesome. It was just like it brought these guys out of the business of basketball and put them back in their youth where they're having fun again.
It did. And even the fans, like even your team defensively, because you got to play defense. You're not just hacking it. I'm telling you, go to a game, and I've been saying this for the last 2 weeks, but go to a game just to experience. You may not know anybody in there, but if you go to a game, you see it on TV, you can feel it, but I'm telling you, at a game, holy hell. All right, Rucker Park this year, I think that is the Elam ending. That is how you play. I grew up Gary, Indiana, man. We'd go to the Spectrum, we called it, or we'd go to Broad Street. You played to 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever the hell it was. Rucker Park is the home of the Elam ending in some ways.
It is. And we know that to survive and to grow, we need to take risks and innovate. And that's one of the things we've always wanted to do, whether it's plopping a court in a cornfield, playing in Knightstown where Hoosiers gym was, or, playing at Rucker Park, which is a huge, huge home for basketball. We love the idea of taking this outdoors and playing with whatever lines are on the court at whatever dimensions they're at, not laying a beautiful wooden court over it. Just going into an environment and playing TBT basketball and bringing it there. It's just very appealing.
John, let me go back to something because I did want to finish up with the Elam ending. You mentioned the future of basketball. Has there been any discussion further? You know, as you see this thing grow from the TBT to, I know some leagues have tried. I know the NBA All-Star Game. Has there been any league that you know that has absolutely adopted it?
Yeah, the Canadian Basketball League has adopted it. That's a summer league. They're doing a great job up there. I know that there's I think Kyle Guy, we found out, puts on a pro-am in Indianapolis that just adopted it. It's literally all over the place, but I feel like I finally see the future for widespread adoption. And I feel like, the NBA has been talking about a midseason tournament for a few years now and wanting to get it going. And I really feel at some point they'll get that going. And when they do, it'll have an Elam ending in it. Hopefully it's the Elam ending and they'll call it by that. But, Adam Silver has spoken publicly that they would love to put the Elam ending in that tournament. I feel like whenever that does happen, it's going to just blow up and go everywhere and we'll never play with a clock again.
I've said this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to get into the innovation. I've said the original bubble was not the NBA basketball bubble. The original bubble was the TBT bubble, correct?
We were the first, yeah. We played on July 4th, 2020. And I think, the NBA was about 3 or 4 weeks after us.
How did you come up with that?
It's a team that's been together for 8 years. They're awesome. You know them. Dan Friel, Jen Todd at the time. There are people, George Alexander, who we just know each other and support each other, and we're able to break everything down to its core and just build from there. We don't have any precedent, and we're just very, very small, efficient, nimble. And we just looked at the problem and we solved it over the course of 3 or 4 weeks. And that was that. It's sort of like this small entrepreneurial, small business spirit, just at its best.
That's what I said in the introduction. It's the American way. It's exactly what people should be. Did the NBA call you? Did they talk to you about what you had done in the bubble before they implemented theirs?
No, we didn't have any conversations with them. After the fact, USA Basketball reached out and I talked to them about some of their camps they were running. They asked for our plan and for advice. Big East Conference, the same thing. A couple other conferences did reach out to ask for our plan, and which we obviously shared.
All right, John, it starts up on the 16th. Bunch of sites. Not only people, can you see it on TV, but we want you to go. How can people get tickets? How can people get involved?
Thetournament.com has got everything anyone would ever want on it. So there's a ticket tab there. But we'll be across 8 regions of the country, in some new sites like the Pit in New Mexico, which I'm excited to see. We'll be at Rucker Park, obviously, and then you'll be in Dayton with us too.
Man, when you go to the Pit, you ever been to the Pit?
No, but I'm thinking of flying out there.
The Pit, at the end of the court where the teams go, it is literally a straight up climb. And when we beat UCLA to go to the Final Four in 1992, and I remember going up that walkway. We were going up, UCLA was going up, and I'll never forget this. Our players, Calbert Chaney, Alan Henderson, Damon Bailey, they were sprinting up this hill. And UCLA, Don McClain and Murray and these guys, they were like dying, And I told Coach Knight at halftime, we're going to kick their ass in the second half. The Pit is awesome. John, Thanks, man. Look forward to seeing you in Dayton. And thanks for letting me be involved, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
We love having you, Dan. Thanks for the time.
That's my pleasure. That's John Mugar. Look, I'm telling you, go to the tournament, TBT.com, get yourself involved, and go and check a game. I swear to you, you will sit in there, and all of a sudden the Elam ending will start. And whether you're eating popcorn or talking to your son or, you're seeing, I knew this kid, that kid, whatever, you'll be all of a sudden like, holy shit, this is awesome. And the other thing is, it's a little like the NBA Summer League. You're going to see players, let's say you're a Creighton fan and you're in Omaha and you go, you're going to see all your favorite players just hanging out. Like it's literally the summer league for college basketball. Coaches go. I remember last year, the coach down at Alabama, he came up to watch his alumni team. There's all kind of players that you've seen. I'm telling you, if you are a basketball fan, it is the most fun thing to be involved with in the summertime. It is. And there is no BS to it. It is winner take all. If you lose, guess what you do? We'll see you. In fact, in the bubble, they would have both teams bring their stuff down to the in the afternoon games. You just had to leave. You lost, you had to leave, man. That's it. You lost, you left. That's the way it goes. No, it's pretty good. You will really, really like it. You will enjoy it. Get yourself a ticket. If you live in New York City, get over to Rucker Park, and away you go. Anyway, a lot of people mad at me. I don't know why, but that's cool. Some guy, Mellow T, says I'm a has-been. No, I'm a never was. I'm a never was. At Dan Dockage, has been. Man, I got my friends' kids are mad at me. You said women can't I don't even know. Dan, it seems to be a requirement to be a clown these days. The more of a loon, the higher the pay. I agree. I totally agree. Look, let's be honest. What we had today on our show was freaking awesome. All right? I am more than welcome to stay in the cornfield, Kevin Wykovich says. I'm not sure why you are tripping over the fact that some humans have a uterus and can give birth. Huh? I'm tripping over the fact that some humans have a uterus and can give birth. Those humans are called women. I don't know. Those humans, in my opinion, are called women. And I don't know why, Kevin Wykovich, you're tripping over the fact that women can give birth. Give me a call so I can call you transphobic to your face. Okay, I will do that. I've known that guy since he was that tall. Man, hey, Clay just put out, Disney stock hit a 8-year low this morning. If you bought the stock in December and just held it, you've now lost money. How about that? How about that? Man, the business of streaming coupled with cord cutting has been a disaster, and going woke did not help. That's where you're going to get Disney's attention. Look, the guys that I know at ESPN that are in the front offices all hate what's going on at ESPN. They just do. I mean, I don't know what to tell you because they're smart dudes. They hate it. They can't stand it. But they also know that they have stock options. And those stock options at one point, and probably are worth zillions. You know what I mean? So now, if you really want to see ESPN react to something, let that happen. Or Disney react to ESPN, let that happen. Now, Disney's a massive company, and let's be honest, their stock dropped, I'm sure, because, well, parks got closed, things of that nature. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think that the news coming out of ESPN lately has been great for them. But it's ESPN is held hostage. They're held hostage to an ideology, and they're going to stick with it, and that's just simply the way that it's going to be. Hey, fellas, we got a few minutes here. Can we go again, because it was my favorite segment that we've ever done on this show. Can we go again to Joe Biden doing some sniffing? Can we go again to... He's taking a picture. He's behind a little girl, and then it has to happen. There we go. Look at this little girl. Like, Daddy, some perv is sniffing me. What are we doing? What are we doing? Lee, whenever something like this happens, I have got to go to Lee. I got to go, hey, Lee, the president is sniffing. He's sniffing again. Can you imagine if Donald Trump did that? Now, I know that's the whataboutisms that everybody hates when it goes the other way. But my God, between Hunter Biden, can somebody explain to me how Hunter Biden isn't at least being prosecuted for drug use, trafficking, that kind of stuff? Hey, do we have poll? According to America, we had 125 votes completed. There was a poll that Ryan and Dylan and Davey and everybody put up on our YouTube chat, which, by the way, thanks to all of you for being on. Here's the poll. LeBron is America's dumbest smart guy, smartest dumb guy. Well, 59% of you say he is America's dumbest smart guy. And that's exactly who he is. He's America's dumbest smart guy. He's a smart guy. And people can point to whatever you want to point to. You can point to the fact, well, he only has a high school education. I don't care. That dude's brilliant. The way he's gone about his business has been absolutely brilliant. It is a model for others. He's got his team. He trusts his team. He's got Maverick there. And away they go, and they have been brilliant. But his social media, his social justice commentary is idiotic, as evidenced by him saying, how can Brittany Griner feel like America has her back? I would be feeling like I don't even want to go back to America. Well, then don't. I don't know what to tell you. Don't. And then, of course, he had to apologize. Dan Dockich looks like the love child of Richard Mole and Sinead O'Connor. You know what? Somebody told me Richard Mole is that guy that was the bailiff in Night Court. I think you're right. I think you're right. Our president is sniffing. Oh, my God. Go around today and sniff. Hey, Dan, cut Biden some slack. He's 95 years old. Dan, if he did not sniff, he was just biding his time until he could. See what LMB did there? Biden his time, B-I-D-E-N. We'll get to a mean tweet segment. Yeah, we'll get there. I'm a man and I gave birth to a 2-pounder. Named it LeBron. That was from 6X. Oh, man. Hey, we'll be back at it tomorrow. Yeah, we will. We'll be back at it hot and heavy tomorrow. But you got a weekend at Biden's. I got to tell you, I'm just going to end with this. In my lifetime, I have never, ever sniffed somebody that I'm getting ready to take a picture with. Now, I'm not saying I'm a good guy. I'm not saying do what Dan does. I'm not saying that at all, not even a little. But I am saying, you take a picture with someone, you lean in on someone, maybe they're at Indiana games, maybe there's a family with a daughter or son in front. Now, I've told someone, man, you smell pretty good. But that's from like me to there. In fact, Dane Fife, the former Indiana player and coach, smelled really good. He sent me a bottle of his cologne. It was glorious. But have any of you ever, anybody? Bueller? No. Oh, yeah, the bailiff. Man, Monday, I have a golf outing. And if anybody wants to join, go to 107.5 The Fan. I got about 3/4 still available. I need to fill that thing up. But anyway, I'm going to be doing the show for an hour right here, and then I got to sprint a half hour over to the golf course. But I'll be back here tomorrow. We're going to be going at it tomorrow. BS, thank you for all of it. Yeah. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. If you want to catch more of this act, I'm at 107.5 The Fan in Indianapolis. You can catch us online. We'll be sniffing around. I'm spitting around. Thanks to everybody. Hey, Ryan and Davey and Dylan, you guys are the best. That was freaking awesome. We'll talk to you. I don't know why that's funny. I don't know why this is funny. Look at this guy. That's your president. I wouldn't care what he sniffed. If gas was cheap, inflation was down, and the stock market was rolling, I wouldn't care. Sniff to your brain's content. Sniff glue for all I care. We'll talk to you, Doc and Child. Thank you.